Harry and Harry's Wife, Analysis Part 3. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Well, you're sticking with it, and so you should, because my analysis is always interesting and always entertaining, even if the actual subject matter is dull as dishwater. We returned at the early stages of episode 1 to Harry's wife wearing towel by false angst, and she says, staring at the camera, "I don't know what to say anymore." She then attempts to stifle a sob, and piano music plays. A pity play, and a badly done one. Harry then tells us that he's on a mission to discover the exploitation and bribery that occurs in our media. Huzzah for you, Harry! The White Knight riding in to save us all from this repeated exploitation. I mean, for example, you are and your wife are experts, really, aren't you? For instance, you know all about exploiting the death of your mother again and again and again, paying for awards, repeatedly paying for PR puff pieces, which appear on a near daily basis to make the two of you seem like you're really interesting and decent people. Harry's wife, exploiting her relationship with friends, husbands and family, and then dropping them when they serve no further purpose to her. Yes, fascinating to know that Harry's on a quest to deal with exploitation, whilst he fails to notice that his wife engages in exploitation left, right and centre, including him. Yes, as a consequence of being blinded by that spicy poontang, Harry talks about the exploitation in the media, but doesn't realise how he's been exploited by his wife by virtue of getting hold of him because he's got a title and he's in the royal family. Harry's wife then joins us, probably with more sage words of wisdom, explaining, unfortunately, in not standing for something, they are destroying us. Quelle horreur! Such dramatic import there. Once again, we're treated to the victim mentality, exaggeration, and a pity play. Remember, from the narcissistic perspective, it is always the case that the real victims are portrayed as the aggressor. For instance, you will often find on YouTube numerous unaware mid-range narcissists that set up channels talking about narcissism, and they bang on about how they've been treated. It doesn't take long to realise, particularly to one such as experienced and expert as I, that you can tell that actually they're talking about a genuine victim fighting back. And it is they that has caused the problem in the first place. But of course the narcissism edits that out, because the narcissist is never allowed to be at fault. The narcissist can never be culpable. So what invariably happens as a consequence of projection is that the narcissist claims everybody else has been doing bad to them, and that they are the true victim. And we've seen this repeatedly with Harry's wife, and then also with Harry as he's followed what she has instructed him to do. She maintains that he's the victim of racism, the victim of hatred, the victim of misogyny, the victim of lies and planted story. Yet the one person that bangs on about racism and causes division is her. The person that repeatedly tells lies and has been proven to do so repeatedly is her. The individual that goes around exploiting her relationships with other people is her. And of course, she doesn't see that she is the perpetrator. Her narcissism causes her to believe that she is the victim. There is this dramatic announcement that they are destroying us. How? You're still in a relationship together. You're still wealthy. You're still famous or infamous. You're still tolerated by certain people. You're still idolised by numbskulls and the sugar lumps. So explain to me, how is it that you're being destroyed? You're not. Somebody's house being shelled when another country invades that sovereign nation, that's destruction. Somebody being raped and thereafter their marriage collapsing as a consequence of that, their self-esteem tumbling through the floor, their inability to hold down a job as a consequence of the traumatic sexual attack that they've suffered, that's somebody that's been destroyed. Somebody's business that's been brought to its knees so that they become bankrupt, losing their house, ending up having to use food banks. That's destruction. But as we know with Harry's wife, whatever happens to her is far worse than anybody else. You have got double pneumonia, she's got triple pneumonia. You went to Tenerife, she went to 11 Reef. You have a 4 head, she has a 5 head. Typical of the narcissist, and particularly that of the mid-range, she always has to go one better, whether it's in terms of success or the level of misery. She will, of course, make a fractured eyelash seem like she's on her deathbed. Harry then pops back up. This has always been so much bigger than us. Again, exaggerated horse shit, because all you're interested in is both of you, and you think you're bigger than anything else. Harry then tells us that no one knows the full truth, and then says that he and Harry's wife know the full truth, the institution knows the full truth, meaning the royal family, and the media knows the full truth. Well done, Harry. You've just contradicted yourself within the matter of a sentence. So three sets of institutions, organisations, people know the truth. Again, once it is saying that whatever you've read out there isn't the truth. Now, undoubtedly, there is some shit that's written about them. We know that. As I've explained to you on repeated occasions, I've always left it for you to determine the veracity of some of the material that is generated about the two of them. However, some of this material is also generated by them for the purposes of Harry's wife's prime aims. It has to be borne in mind, of course, with these behaviours, that when they say nobody knows the truth, this is this kind of what we say is right and what you say is wrong. I know the truth and you don't. Well, actually, many people do know the truth, because there's people who've spoken out about it, to Valentine Lowe and Tom Bauer, by way of example. There's other journalists who have reported on it and seen the behaviours. And of course, you have my input, explaining to you the way that a narcissist behaves, which enables you to make sense of why Harry's wife does as she does. We then reach the intro sequence. Ooh, what excitement. And in it we see Harry and Harry's wife, as you might expect, the late Queen, Charles, Diana, Doria, Archie, the press, I think it's Lilibet, and hilariously, at the end, the parental trees get a look in. Hurrah for them! No William, no Kate, no Thomas Markle Sr., the half-siblings are absent. Of course, cocking a snook by omission against those people, and, of course, demonstrating that this is very much their story, and they determine who is going to be involved in it. The intro sequence is there with the suitably emotive music, determined to try and pull at your heartstrings. Of course, to a cold-hearted narcissistic psychopath such as I look at it with the cynicism that it deserves and identify that, quite simply, it is over-sugared nonsense. So far, we've reached the intro sequence and learned nothing interesting, but other than seeing Harry's wife's narcissism in effect as always, and how Harry has been corrupted by that and has essentially begun this joint enterprise with her, following their narrative, their story. Let's see what goes on beyond the intro sequence in part 4.